What's up guys? Today's video is gonna be about a lot actually. So here's what's on deck. I just received a brand new palette from Viseart, like they just launched it today. I received it from Muse Beauty, and so I wanted to swatch it here for you because as of today, Muse Beauty is also having a 15% off site-wide sale. That's all the words I needed to say there. Site-wide sale, and as well as having some bundles. And so this started as being a video where I was going to swatch the new Viseart palette and share my thoughts, but then I also thought in case you're interested in purchasing other Viseart products, I should go ahead and swatch those as well. And then I also have a couple of the package deals that they are offering in the Muse Beauty promotion. So why not just throw them all in a video so you get all the good stuff in one sitting. Needless to say, we got a lot to talk about, so let's go ahead and get started. So first off, let's dig into the new Viseart Neutral Mattes Milieu palette. So this is a descendant of the original Neutral Mattes palette. I don't personally have that to compare this to, but what I can tell you is that this reminds me a little bit of the Dark Mattes palette, which is one that I have raved about here on the channel for a while, and I will have swatches of that coming up here too. It has, I would say, 3 lighter shades, but the rest are really rich, beautiful, medium to deep tones. And then you even have some gorgeous gem tones in here, like a magenta, a deep bright blue, and even a more reddy leaning berry coupled with a deepened sienna kind of shade. So you get your classic matte neutrals with a hint, well actually I would say more than a hint of color, because I think you'll see in these swatches that all of these shades are very pigmented. With some of these mid-tone neutrals, they look similar in the pan, but I think the undertones really come through strongly and show themselves to be very different from each other when they're actually swatched on your skin. Overall, I think it's an incredibly cohesive palette, a really beautiful selection of colors, and definitely one that I can personally see myself reaching for between the mixture of neutrals and more colorful tones. So you can definitely expect a tutorial or 3 to come using this palette. I also want to mention that it does come in the new, I don't think it's that new anymore, but it's my first time using a palette in this format. It's the Slim Pro format from Viseart. So it's a little bit different from the old packaging, which is what all of my other 12 pan palettes are in. The main difference here is that these are magnetic pans that you can easily pop out and customize across any pans like this, any freeform pans you might have laying around, any of the smaller Viseart pans that can accommodate this pan size. Like, these are meant to be mixed and matched and customized, which I absolutely love. They also have a slightly slimmer profile than the old packaging, nothing major, but definitely a little bit more streamlined and rounded edges, which feels nice and polished. And then there is something with this lid where it's not magnetic, but it has like a very firm closure, so you don't have to worry about it clasping together here. It like pops. It has this midpoint where it will just snap and pop closed, so you don't have to worry about it coming out or fly open in your makeup bag, but it does that without this clasp here, which is, again, just makes it feel really nice and sleek. So that is the Milieu palette. I don't have a whole lot else to say about it right now because it really is a first impressions just of the swatches. And before I jump into the rest of the other palettes, just super quick swatches of these because the quality is consistent and good across all of them. So it's really just going to be for you to get an idea of the color palettes within each of these. But before I do, just want to mention that the Muse Beauty Pro does still have palettes that are in this old packaging, and that is already discounted on the website. So you'll see some of the palettes are in the new packaging. Those are 15% off. Some are in the old packaging, and I think those are a little bit more than 15% off. Same shadows, same formulas, it's just the difference in packaging. And these were discounted before the sale started, and they said that the additional 15% off will not apply to the old packaging of Viseart. Okay, now let's get into the swatches. First, starting with my great love, the Dark Matte palette. This is just a beautiful, like, savory selection of dark matte shades, everything from a deep mustardy yellow to a deep burnt orange, plums, both cool and warm leaning plums, and blues and greens. Like, it just has a hint of every shade you could want, but just made super deep and rich and entirely matte. Then there is the Sultry Muse palette, and this is one that as I was swatching it for this video, I thought I have got to reach back in for. At face value, I have to be honest, because it doesn't offer a lot of contrast at first glance. It's not one that immediately attracts me to like reach for and use it. But as I was swatching it, I just realized that the pearlescent pigments and textures across all of these shades are so beautiful, and they actually have, I I think, a higher contrast against each other when swatched to possibly create, depending on what you're after, a pretty dramatic look. So I am definitely gonna be putting this in my everyday makeup drawer so I reach for it more often. And then last up, for my 12 pans anyway, still have a couple more Viseart palettes to cover, but this is the Editorial palette. It's entirely matte, but it's a mixture of both neon and more subdued colorful shades, if that makes sense. I mean, all of these are very bright, but I think you'll be able to see in the swatches that, especially now that neon pigments have become more popular, there were some neons in this long before that craze ever started. Like this pink, this hot orange, lime green, even this purple down here. It is far brighter than like a kind of plummier purple that you would see in a lot of other palettes. It's an in-your-face bright purple. This is a really fun one as well. Not one that I wear so much every day, although now that I pick it back up, I do have another palette that I could see myself pairing it with more frequently. Actually, let's get to that one because it's my other absolute favorite palette from Viseart that I've ever purchased. This is the Grande Pro Volume 2 palette. I've actually done a few videos with this, tutorials anyway, or maybe it was one with a couple different looks, but this is one of the great makeup loves of my life. It's an entirely textured palette, everything from duochromes, iridescence, glitters, metallics, you name it, it's probably in here, and I could just go all day nonstop with this palette alone. And this is not only part of the site-wide sale with 15% off, but they also created a bundle with it as well if you want to go that route. So in the bundle you get this as well as the Isom mixing medium, which they recommend mixing with these if you want to intensify the pigment, make it into a liner, make it into a creamy liquid eyeshadow sort of deal. That's what they recommend using it with, and then they will also give you an Isom T37 brush as well. So that is a pretty good deal. They actually also have a deal on the 12 pan palettes as well. For those, let me make sure I get the detail right. It says buy any two Viseart Pro palettes, those are the 12 pan palettes, of the new Slim Pro packaging that I just talked about, and you get an Isom eye pencil, an S31, and a G34 in with that bundle. And it's so funny, that is actually where I bought my first Viseart palette, was on Muse Beauty Pro, because they do the best bundle deals when they do them, which is not often, but when they do, they're like some of the best deals ever. And so it was a Christmas a couple years back that I actually took advantage of one of those bundles and got a couple Viseart palettes and then Isom brushes that I actually still have and use in my collection pretty frequently, so they held up really well. All right, a few more Viseart palettes before we move on to some other fun brands. First up is the Petite Pro 3 palette. This is kind of the greens with that pop of lilac-y, pinky purple in there. Really pretty color selection, and a nice selection if you just want to try the Viseart formula but you don't want a full big 12 pan palette. This is a good way to get that solid sampling of textures and shades from them, but it's still very portable and packable. And the same goes for this next palette, which is the Warm Edit. Muse Beauty also sent this to me as well, and I had no idea from the pictures when I saw this, because it too is a 12 pan palette, so when I see pictures online of this, I think it's as big as the other 12 pan palettes, but it's not. It is also a little bit more, well, a lot bit more petite. The packaging is so slim, so sleek, and the shades in this palette in particular, I've been wearing the pants off of this palette. I'm wearing it here today. I have a couple tutorials that are gonna be going up on Instagram soon, and I was actually wearing it in one, if not two videos before this too. Like I can't get enough of this. I actually went traveling last weekend and this was the only thing I packed just because it's such a beautiful, warm palette, appropriate for the summer if you tend to like warmer colors in the summer, like I'm definitely feeling right now, but it's just so easy to throw in whatever bag you're working with and take it on the go. Now let's talk about another brand that I really recommend you check out in the sale if you've ever been interested in it. It is Danessa Myricks, and Muse Beauty Pro doesn't carry all of her products. They carry a selection of the cream finish color fixes as well as the glaze color fix finishes, which is what I want to show you here today, and then also the Do It balms, a couple of finishes of the Do It balm. So they don't have a comprehensive, like you're not going to find all of the color fixes on Muse Beauty, but a pretty good selection. And if you've ever wanted to try them, now would be a good time with that discount. I don't have any of the shades available of the cream finish. I have some cream finishes, just not the shades that are available on Muse Beauty. What I do have to talk about are some of those glazes. One, I just got a clear glaze, and the other is called Kaleidoscope, and it has this really fun assortment of glitters throughout the medium. And what I love about these, they're meant to be used on your eyes, lips, face, body. They're multi-use. You can use them anywhere you want, but they don't crease on your eyes. I think I have an Instagram video and at least maybe a YouTube tutorial of this too, but when you put it on your eyes, it maintains that glossy finish without creasing. It definitely transfers, like you're not going to get away with rubbing your eye or having something, you know, touch it and it not coming off or smudging a little bit, but it's unlike any other glossy eye balm where the second you apply it, it just starts creasing up. So you can get that beautiful, healthy, glowy dew look without having major makeup meltdown. And the same can be said for the Dew Wet Balm. I just have the clear version, but they have a couple of other finishes in that too. This I really love using on the tops of my cheekbones when I want to highlight, but I don't want any glitter or shimmer. It just gives you that really healthy, balmy finish. Again, not transfer proof, but it also doesn't make your makeup break down. Like as you're patting it over your foundation, you're not going to notice it just coming off and getting patchy, or I mean, unless it's, you know, something to do with your base, but anytime I've used this over any of my bases, it really plays nicely with them in not moving them around and sticking to them and just coming off and making a mess everywhere. And finally, let's talk about the buy this, get that bundle. Basically, Muse has created these packages where if you buy one, and it's pretty self-explanatory, you buy one thing, they give you something with it. So for example, they sent me 2 of some of the bundles that they have. First of which is if you buy any Esom brush set, any brush set from the website, you get this brush carrying case as well. And this is unlike any other carrying case I've ever experienced. Like on the one side over here, you have your brush organizers or your lip gloss, lipstick, any sort of tube organizer you have over here, kind of waves of them. You have tube organizers, then behind that you could stick some palettes because it's a flat, larger pocket, and then behind that more brush or tube organizers, and then another larger pocket back there. Then here on the other side where I'm hiding another bundle, you have this plastic encasing where you can put your liquids if you don't have to worry about them spilling and then getting all over your brushes or your other makeup items over there. You can also just put like larger, bulkier items, zip them up in there, but you have that plastic protection, that layer between the two, so that when you close it up, you don't have to worry about things jostling around in there. I was so pleased with how much it fit in there, and I didn't have to worry about things getting jostled and broken or, you know, just messed up in transit, and it held a ton. So that is one deal, the brush deal. Oh, and the brush set that I have is the detailing brush set. It's a 9-piece brush set, and I have really been enjoying it. The detailing brushes are ultra precise. There are 2 of them, one kind of larger that's good for a thicker eyeliner, and then one that's really small in case you want like an ultra fine or do some more graphic detailed liner, along with an angled liner brush or brow brush if you want to use that too. There's a fan brush. There are a couple of flat brushes in here. This one that I really, really love for a big full crease. This is the Esom W35, and then a nice tiny detailer over here that I love for my outer corner and lower lash line, the S31, and actually a backup of one of the first Esom brushes I ever got when I first ordered my Viseart palettes. This is the G29, and this is like your all-purpose if you want to go with color all across the lid, if you want to work that color up into the crease. Like this is kind of a do-it-all brush for me, especially on the days where I just want a super simple and easy makeup look. It's fluffy enough to go in the crease and yet large enough and flat enough to pounce and pack product onto the lid. So it's such a good multitasker, but at the same time, you have a ton of others in this set as well. And now the other bundle that I have to talk about is one where if you buy a Melanie Mills Hollywood Gleam Body Radiance, you get another Esom brush, but this one is obviously more appropriate for applying a body radiance glow. This is the Esom T59 brush. You can see it has a nice kind of broad flat head with a good amount of surface area so that you can sweep it on, still buff it in. And because it is still so warm out that I'm trying to get away with wearing as little as possible, I figured this I will definitely get some good out of in the next few weeks, months. It's Texas, who knows how long this could last. So I have tried a few like body glow products thus far, since it seems to have been a very popular thing to launch this summer. And the main difference between this Melanie Mills and those others that I have tried is that it's more of a lotiony texture, and there are a little bit like slightly larger shimmers, sparkles in there. I don't want to call them sparkles because it doesn't feel like glitter or anything, but they're definitely like larger glow bits, I suppose we'll call them, as well as some smaller, like more metallic. When you actually spread it out across your skin, it looks a little bit more metallic as well, but it feels definitely more like lotion, like as opposed to the Huda Beauty Nymph that I also really enjoy. Those like suck right into your legs, not hydrating at all, but very long lasting, versus this, which is more of a lotion type texture. Definitely dries down. It's not totally transfer proof, but it just gives you this goddess-like, I don't even know if you can see, goddess-like radiance on your skin. It just has, it's less of a metallic finish like the Huda Beauty Nymph and more of a larger shimmery texture. At least the shade Disco Gold is. And it's really nice that you get this brush because as you can see, just from applying this to my body, my hand has already picked up a lot of product, whereas a brush, you don't have to worry about, you know, kind of washing your hands and trying to get all that stuff out of your creases. You can just, you know, apply it direct with that brush, which is nice. Okay. Whew. That was a lot, or at least it felt like a lot, but I hope it was all helpful for you guys, especially if you were considering picking any of these up and now seemed like the right time with this sale. Let me know what you think down in the comments below. Besides that, guys, thank you so much for watching. Please don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already, and I will catch you in the next video. Bye, guys.